You're listening to the New Old Heads podcast, shot live every Tuesday at twitch.tv/newoldheads and released every Thursday at noon via bringingdowntheband.com. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You are now tuned into the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7. The crew is in the building. Fresh off the Pacers blowing what felt like 12 games in a row in the last 3 minutes of each game.
It hurt.
Yeah, man.
It's
it was
pretty bad situation.
Like,
but let me take care of the intro.
Listen,
I'm just venting because I'm still frustrated with that. But my man Jay Moore with the looking real pockish today, man. We just need a bandana. You'd be good to go.
Hey, man.
You be aggressive today?
I might be. So,
okay.
Whoever we talking about today might. I don't know. I don't know if I could be more aggressive than I was last week, though.
I'll talk about that in a minute because I got some feedback. My man Lonegevity, how are you, sir?
Splendid.
Thanks,
Spectacular,
man.
great.
All that stuff.
F it, you pick an adjective. I don't know. I'm great.
Okay, all right. Just checking on you, man. Just checking on you.
Thanks for asking.
My man DJ Jay Diff.
Salutations.
How's man?
What's going on, man?
Love the Pacers hat, bro.
Yeah, man.
I like that you still repping.
Yeah, I'm a loser.
So why don't you kill me?
So why don't you kill me?
Hat is
On the
cold.
live view.
Yeah, all of that. But
Algorithm, shout out.
So
yeah,
I want to run something by y'all. I saw this, but this was a clip from T-Pain where he was talking about some of the things that he's done that had he listened to other people, things might not have gone the same.
Stop asking artists for his advice. If I would have listened to Scott Storch, Snoop, Bone Crusher, or the many artists that came before me, if I would have listened to them people, I would not be where I am today. I swear. Scott Storch told me to not use the 808s that I use still to this day. And that's the same 808s I used on Kanye's 808s and Heartbreaks, which made a monumental album, which made, like, the reason he said that he even did that album was because of the 808s I used when Scott Storch told me not to use them. Snoop Dogg told me that auto-tune shit was a gimmick, and it was only gonna last for like...
You sharpening a pencil?
I had to be sharpening a pencil.
Do what you like, bro.
Open and wine.
That's my advice. Stop asking people for advice and do what you like.
What y'all think about that? Because I've been in that situation. I'm sure you all have all been in that situation. It just might be a different, conversation or a different topic. But Lone, I know you've been in that situation a lot in terms of sharing, kind of like sharing creative works and stuff. Is he on to something here? Because you can listen. You don't have to listen. Because clearly they missed on all three of those that he used.
I mean, you can't really refute anything he just said.
You can't.
808s and Heartbreaks was huge.
True.
Even the auto-tune stuff that he was doing, that wasn't like, people were clowning on that heavy at the time. From one angle, it's like, yeah, sure, you can listen to people's critiques and everything and take everything into account, but who's to say that, he got advice from some other stuff and the advice wasn't good, It just so happens that these two particular instances just happen to be, monumental and changing. But I'm guessing there's a lot of people out there as well that don't take any advice from anybody, but are still been making music in their bedroom for the last 25 years. You know what I mean? So
that's a good point.
I think there's a balance in it. I think you do have to have confidence in yourself, but I think if you want to have confidence in yourself, you better execute it to the fullest.
Yeah.
At the same time, you better really believe in the things if you're going to go completely left field. You know what I mean? So
gotta wear it.
Yeah, I guess that's just what I would say. I don't know.
I think a lot of it too has to do with the two names that he just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying that Snoop told him that the auto-tune was a gimmick, and it was a gimmick for certain artists. T-Pain was just able to do it very well. Because if you think about it, when T-Pain started doing it, everybody started doing it.
True.
He's the one that lasted and did it the best, essentially. 808s and Heartbreaks, I mean, we seen what that did. And he's talking about creatives telling you what to do, too.
Right.
So that's a little different.
Right.
For example, like say somebody actually liked what you were doing as a creative and kind of told you not to do it so that they could do it.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen.
I mean, both of these artists that he just mentioned both used 808s and auto-tune.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of sexual seduction.
Yeah. He did it after T-Pain blew up.
Yeah,
Facts.
he did after that. But I mean, there was a lot of people. I mean, Death of Autotune, Jay-Z had that. I think the problem was it was oversaturated.
Yeah.
And he even talks about how Jay-Z doing that, and then Usher mentioning it about him using the auto-tune kind of hurt his feelings and things of that nature. But
yeah.
I mean, as an artist, if you're passionate about what you do, you just got to do it. But I think everybody has people in their circle that can give them constructive criticism that actually means something and holds weight.
Yeah.
Because like, just because you like something, you might be listening to it with a different ear or not considering people's taste, and it might not be it. And some people take that and run with it, and it actually helps them. So it kind of goes both ways, because you don't want to deal with yes men all the time.
That's the thing.
But you also don't want to be complacent and not take any kind of advice when it comes to your art.
Yeah, I
like that.
I think that's a good point. To follow up what I said originally, I think as a creative in general, no matter what field you're in, you have to be able to, like, if you have other creatives around you that you trust their opinion, you want to at least to be able to accept their input. Now, whether or not you choose to embark on whatever they say, I think is kind of up to you, but I think it is important to be able to at least accept input from specific types of people, and then you can take it from there. I find this, this is a challenge sometimes for me as an educator when I have students and stuff, where I want to be able to share my experiences and show the best practices for some ways that the students are trying to do things, but at the same time, I don't want to overly influence them in a way that's going to make them do something that is exactly the way I would do it,
or hinder their creativity.
Yeah, I want them to still be creative, and I think there's a challenge. I think there's just as much of a challenge in giving out advice as there is in knowing how to manage to taking the advice in. I think those are both equally important things, but I don't know if I fully 100% believe exactly what T-Pain says, but
the way he's laying it out.
But realistically, I guess I kind of do, because that's exactly how I operate. Like, I'll take input from people, but at the same time, like, if I don't truly believe that that's what I want to do, then I just won't do it. I'll just continually stick with mine. I just kind of use it as a reference point to be like, okay, this is what this person says. All right, cool. If I hear like 9 other people say this, then maybe it's something, which is kind of what he said, but he did it anyways, and it just kind of worked out because he believed in himself, So
I'm a firm believer in the source. I take into consideration the source because I look at creatives differently than I do, if you want to call it the consumer, but I also value both opinions because you make music for the consumer. So you have to always listen to both, but it still comes down to, like Lone said, you have to wear it and just pull the trigger at some point, no matter what you've heard or who it came from. Even if it's your ride or die people, at some point you're going to have to say, I'm putting this out as is based off how I feel, and you just got to live with the results. And I think that's what T-Pain is speaking to, is like, he heard it's like hearing from Snoop, that's big. Like, for somebody of Snoop's stature to say that, you got to at least take it into consideration, but that does not mean that you don't have to go for it. And it worked out for him that he actually
because I mean,
made his own
think about
choice.
it. T-Pain was essentially a new age Nate Dogg. Everybody was featuring T-Pain on everything. You almost had to go to T-Pain to get a hit for a while.
He was on everybody's hook.
He was on everybody's hook. He was on everybody's song. He had something to do with it. He found something that worked for him, and not to mention, T-Pain can actually still sing without the auto-tune, and he's a good musician. So he knew the formula, and it worked to his advantage. He wasn't just an artist going in the studio like, hey, put the effect on my voice, and I'm just going to say what I usually say. He was actually an artist doing it, and it worked in his favor. So, I don't know.
I'm curious if they made these comments while he was already doing it.
Or if it was prior to
where
he was in his career in terms of these conversations.
Yeah, because at a certain point, like, if T-Pain is seeing that, no, this is actually working really well.
Yeah.
Like, why,
Because sometimes, Jay?
Sometimes people see something stylistically they wouldn't do and try to put that on you. I remember Eddie Murphy told a story about his early career, and then he asked, Rodney Dangerfield just happened.
I remember this story.
And he was like, so what'd you think? Him being a young comic and Rodney Dangerfield being the man. And he's like, I don't know, kid. Like, the cursing and the race stuff, it's kind of a bit much. And then He winds up being on Saturday Night Live doing Delirious. Then 48 Hours hits, and then Beverly Hills Cops hit. And then he sees Rodney Dangerfield like in a bathroom, and the first thing Rodney says to him is like, "Hey kid, who knew?" Like sometimes you got to understand things that you wouldn't do stylistically. Yeah. That's my really bad Rodney Dangerfield.
No, that wasn't too bad though. That about a C minus.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
About a C minus.
And so like sometimes people get caught up in the things that they would do and how they created and are maintaining their success, and they want to give that to you. That's not your journey, and stylistically and what people will tolerate and enjoy, sometimes it changes. And so I think that's what happened, when people, at the time it probably seemed like, okay, these guys are really trying to help me out. It's not coming from a bad place.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, it's definitely coming from a place of them trying to guide him so he doesn't, flake himself off. You know? So
coming from a good place.
I same thing. I remember, Kanye told a story about how like, he asked a producer for some advice and they're like, turn those drums down and stop using all those samples. And it was like, this is, and this
that's
is
another who knew.
Yeah. It's sometimes you get into a situation where, yes, those people were looking out for you in their own way, but like you have to walk your own path as a creative. There are things that maybe, someone, if Combat Jack, God bless the dead, if he'd ever heard our show, and he'd have been like, oh, well, you could change this and change that. And he would probably given us good advice. And the thing is, this show has evolved for the people who've been with I don't even say us from day one, really y'all from day one. Cause like I said, I showed up a little bit later.
Yeah.
There are things like we used to talk about everything we had going on locally. And it was like, no, because the majority of the people who listen to us aren't here in the city of Indianapolis.
And then there was just the like not speaking outside of just the straight lane of hip hop. Yeah. And we started to expand that part and open up certain things.
Yeah. So there are changes, there are things you can do to evolve your style. But, a lot of times people will listen to someone's advice just because they're already successful. Sometimes the best advice you could get from somebody is someone who, just has your best interest at heart, not so much because they're already successful. Because like, once again, a lot of times people think, okay, this is the path that I've made to make it. Yeah. So I want you to come on and be as successful as me, but at the same time, I can't do what you do. We can't do what the Joe Budden podcast is doing. We can't do what Math Hoffa is doing. Do they have more numbers, more eyes? But also, those are people who are somewhat famous compared to us. A lot
more connections.
But also, we're not an industry. Like, we haven't made an attempt to try to be an industry podcast. So there are some people who consider that to be a mistake. The fact that we don't interview more artists or engage with artists. Like, some people with the whole Lupe fiasco thing where he talked about Ja Rule, where like maybe someone else would have been like, hey, let's get not Ja Rule, but get Lupe on the show. It's like, I don't know if we really want to talk to Lupe like that, consider unless he wants to come on and talk about what we want to talk about.
Yeah, we've had what's the producer, Bink?
Was it Bink? Yeah,
Bink was in our DMs.
Upset.
To your point, to bring it back around, like I think you have to have a strong sense of, a strong sense of self and a strong sense of, understanding, but you just have to, it's not a black and white thing. It's like being able to accept input coming in, being able to discern it, being able to, analyze it and then being able to run it by your people and see, if it makes sense and make your decision and go and adapt.
But also people always love these sort of stories. Snoop Dogg and Scott Storch, and they told me this and I ignored it, and that's how I became successful doing me. Like a lot of times people you still hear them, but there are stories where Snoop Dogg and Scott Storch or somebody gave me a piece of advice and I was able to run with that, and now I have $10 million.
It changed my life. Sure. Facts. Yeah. So it does go that way as well.
So it's both. It's both ends.
That's what I actually going to bring that up too, because he could have left out the parts or gems that they dropped that actually worked in his favor. Yeah. But that makes for a good story down the line.
And the way
to say that they told me not to do it and I still did it anyway. So,
and I think with T-Pain, I don't know T-Pain, but like his personality, it doesn't even seem like he was necessarily just mad about it. He's just giving everybody an example of how conversations go and how you have a choice to go certain directions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like it didn't come from a bad place from what I saw.
Yeah. So and down to his point was do what you like, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, you should do what you like, do what you feel. I think the key is like if you're going to do you, just make sure that you are doing you and you're actually 100% in it. Don't like dip your toe in it, man. Don't just like get a little bit. You gotta jump in the water, man. Got to jump all the way in.
I went to a music conference in Phoenix a long time ago. And Ninth Wonder was one of the panelists, and he was out in the vestibule, if you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking to just a bunch of producers, and he was like, so many people laughed and told him Fruity Loops was not about to be successful. It's the same thing. Who knew? Because people were telling me about Fruity Loops. I was like, yeah, they said this person uses it and that person uses it. And I was like, nah, but old boy from North Carolina really uses it. I didn't know too much then. I was still getting, familiar with them, but I was like, nah, he really be using it. Yeah. And it worked.
Yeah, that's with everything. Just like with DJing. Yeah. There was DJs that shunned Serato until you had to use Serato. Mm-hmm. They started seeing what you were able to do with Serato and was like, well, I guess I got to go ahead and bow out and stop carrying these crates and just plug on my laptop because it just makes sense.
That's a good one.
I saw somebody DJ scratching using tape reels.
I've seen that.
Oh, for real?
I think Jazzy Jeff
was reacting to it.
That.
Yeah. He was like literally scratching on tape. I was like, it's when it all comes down to it, you just have to have confidence in yourself and you have to believe in the things that you're doing. I think that's the key thing here is you have to believe in what you're doing if you're going to do it,
Right.
Believe in yourself or lean on advice. So
no, that's a good one, Terry, for the DJ part. That's
but it can absolutely backfire on you, and it can absolutely do the opposite. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
What Jigsaw say? Make your choice.
I think when you're talking about artists, I think one of the things. Maybe artistically, you shouldn't take as much advice from people and walk your own path and really try to decipher what they're trying to tell you in the time that you're creating. But artists, start taking advice from people on business and not selling and publishing and having a lawyer that isn't, a part of the record company already. Like that's the
reading your contract.
That's the kind of advice I feel like, okay, if we're really going to pass down game, pass down that stuff that's going to keep you from being in that jerk contract and you not knowing that you can renegotiate every album. True. These are the things that, this type of advice, especially from you see somebody who's already gone through it, take that advice. The creative advice, walk your own path. But the business advice, walk the path of the person who's actually getting paid and has figured out how to do what we've talked about this ad nauseum on this show. Yeah. But I just think that needs to be said because we keep seeing people not make the same artistic mistakes over and over, but the same business mistakes over and over.
Colonel, I want to get your opinion on this one. This is a slight pivot built around social media and good old Charlamagne the God. We mentioned him.
Charlamagne.
Charlamagne. He was having a conversation based around how people tried to influence his opinion on Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers project, which we talked about when it came out. I'm going to read a comment from him because he's pretty much trying to explain how fans may be influenced by how they receive certain stuff as it relates to social media, and then we can kind of react and go off his comment. And he says, if your emotional IQ is so low that people on social media can dictate how you move, how you think, how you talk, you're not a smart person to me. Smart people know how to disconnect from that, and smart people know how to do some meditation and make sure their thoughts are absolutely positively their own. What y'all think about that?
I think that
is that a fair assessment?
Like if somebody's telling you to react a certain way to an album and he's a personality, I think that just comes with the job, and they're just using Kendrick's album because Kendrick's hot right now as the talking point. People always try to influence a personality to sway a certain way. Because
I do think social media, there is such thing as pressure from social media in terms of how you react to certain things. Because social media can influence a lot of
He's
opinions.
Also saying at the beginning, he's pretty much stating what I'm saying as far as him being a personality.
Right.
Fans are always trying to persuade
him as a personality
opinion about what to say on music or about music on The Breakfast Club, because The Breakfast Club is a nationally syndicated show.
Do you think that can be applied to just regular people in general?
Yeah, I don't think it has. It involves social media because now that's readily available. But I think this has always been something that has been done, whether it be before social media, the record label sending you a freaking fruit tray along with the album and some other stuff for you to kind of influence your opinion on the album.
I got you.
Now, what happens with social media is just more noise you got to navigate through. But all you got to do is turn the notifications off at the end of the day when it comes to social media. But I think that's just par for the course if you're considered a personality, I believe.
I got you.
Especially when it comes to music.
And I guess I was trying to make it more towards just the average person, the regular person, how that person, just the regular consumer, how social media and, you know, how that may affect someone's opinions on record because everybody else, quote unquote, likes it or everybody else, quote unquote, does not like it.
I mean, but that's kind of par for the course too. Just like $1 Million Baby is the #1 song right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened in part due to TikTok. And we see that trend happening a whole lot where TikTok influences what the next trend, what's next to be hot. Mm. Now, I agree with that particular statement.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I haven't even really heard them talking about it at all. This is all generated through social media and through consumers christening this song as the best song or the song of the summer. Right. If you listen to the lyrics of this song, the lyrics really ain't nothing.
No, it's nothing.
It's essentially the energy, the vibe of the song.
There we go with the vibe.
That's exactly what it is, though.
Yeah.
It just makes you, it's a cool song. It makes you feel a certain type of way. It makes you move. That's a social media influence, in my personal opinion.
I got you.
But as far as, nobody can tell me or make me like an album based off what they think about it.
I also think that the state where we are in our lives is different from someone that might be younger, that might be more, I guess.
That's fine.
I don't know if I want to use impressionable, but I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. If you one of these people that goes off of trends and when the wind blows, that's on you, not me.
That's fair.
All I know is
That's
like
fair.
when I listen to a record and I enjoy it, like I'm not going to get on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram looking for other opinions to validate how I feel about a certain piece of art.
Gosh.
And I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. And, you know, to where they're like, oh, well, maybe I didn't enjoy this as much as I did. No, you enjoyed it. Yeah. You just don't want to be against like whatever whatever's trending right now. Or, you know, you don't want to have a different opinion, or you don't want to be left out or seem like you're a weirdo because you like or dislike something that everyone else doesn't like or dislike. You know, there are just things that I have enjoyed where, you know, the rest of the world or the internet was just like, no, that wasn't it. Or it's been vice versa. People are looking to say things and have a hot take. And, you know, maybe if it's funny or it gains some traction, you're supposed to go along with that. Yeah. Like, just enjoy what you enjoy. And, you know, if you're looking for validation about things that you like, you know, from a bunch of people you don't know and who don't care anything about you, then honestly, then that's a life that you're living that you need to reassess.
That's fair.
Which goes along with what Charlamagne was saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Y'all live too much for the clicks and the validation of people that don't know you. Like, if I really cared about that, I wouldn't still be active on Twitter because nobody cares what's on Twitter anymore.
It's hard to make somebody like an album or music.
Right.
Like, it's either you like it or you don't. There's never been anything musically that I've liked because somebody else liked it. But I guess I don't speak for everybody else because, I mean, I like music puts me in a certain mood. So if it never made me feel a certain type of way, then I'm not going to keep revisiting it, trying to hear it the same way you heard it. It's just not my thing. It's the same thing like people love Future. I always bring this up. I don't see what the appeal of Future is like that. He has a couple songs here and there, but there's people that literally say that Future is the best rapper out here. Just like some people really like MF Doom.
True.
You know what I'm saying? It's a certain feeling that he gives to certain individuals that I never tapped into. So I don't enjoy it that same way. Even when I try to listen to it, it's just like,
it just don't hit me.
It don't hit me the same way. So I can't be influenced off something that I don't like. Now, there's been albums that people have been like, this is a really good album. And I listen to it and I'm like, I agree. This is a really good album. Right on for putting me on. But you can't just make me like an album because you like it. It doesn't work that way.
Like, I know people who are personalities who have, like, you know, podcasts or who may have YouTube shows, you know, and these people will literally be on Twitter all day, be on Reddit all day, listening to what people are saying about them, reading what people are saying about them, and crafting their thoughts just to talk to them in that crowd, to just please them. I'm like, my God, how narrow-minded is that? That's why, for me, man, if you claim to be an academic, or you claim to be a well-educated person, you claim to be an intelligent, book-smart person, I don't think you're that smart if your emotional IQ is that low. If your emotional IQ is so low that people on social media can dictate how you move, how you think, how you talk, you're not a smart person to me. Smart people know how to disconnect from that. And smart people know how to go, do some meditation to make sure that their thoughts are absolutely positively their own. Like I got people right now today hitting my phone trying to tell me how they feel about the new Kendrick Lamar record. I love Kendrick Lamar. I think he's fantastic. I think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers in the future is going to be known as one of the most important hip-hop albums of all time. That one and Jay-Z's 444. But people are hitting me, telling me their thoughts and telling me their opinions. And I'm blocking all of that because I listened to the record. I listened to it 5 or 6 times.
Same.
I know what I got from it. I know what I feel about it. And I'm not letting y'all change my mind.
That's real.
But they're doing that because they know that tomorrow, when I'm on the air, I'm going to be talking about it. So they're trying to curate my thoughts and they're trying to push my thoughts in a certain direction. I don't want that. And I'm just using that record as an example because it's the freshest thing on my mind, but I'm like that with anything. I need my own clarity. I need to lean into my own discernment. What is my spirit telling me about this situation or this moment or this thing? That's all I care about. I don't care about any of that noise that exists on social media.
Look, just imagine what our show would sound like if we went through the comments on all of our YouTube and all of our TikTok and made decisions based on that.
True.
It's crazy too because
we'd have to kick Lone off the show.
This literally goes to the point that he was saying. They named this article. They included Miss Morale and the Big Steppers as the album that he's talking about, and he said, "I'm just using that as an example." But they used it to influence. I mean, that's just how it works. I mean, we do the same thing. Like, if we want somebody to look at a certain clip or watch a certain show, it's all worded a certain way in order to influence that. But I understand what he's saying as far as wanting someone to or feel like they're, have something to say or influencing his thought process on the air. But I mean, that's media personalities, period, I believe. Yeah.
And you got to look at sometimes even when we talk about the comments, you could tell people are not even reacting to what we say. They're reacting to who, like with the Michael Eric Dyson situation.
Right.
They're not even reacting to what we said. They're just reacting to the fact that they disagree with Michael Eric Dyson whenever he's on TV. I saw a lot of that. I was like, what? And they're not like someone jumped in and accused me of being an Eminem fan or something. It was weird.
Yeah.
I was like,
wait, on a Michael Eric Dyson?
It was something that, I guess they were throwing it at me as a jab, but it was like, you can tell not only they didn't even watch that whole just singular clip that we had.
Right.
And I know they didn't listen to the entire conversation.
Yeah.
Because people react to, this is meant to the quote or whatever the title of the video, who may be in the video, and sometimes they just react to the picture. They're not even listening. It's so hard to cut through the noise, and people are just ready to jump out and be the first person to comment and say some flash that they don't even pay attention to what's really going on.
People's opinions are already formed on Michael Eric Dyson. I don't care what we talked about.
And
they're gonna come in and be like, I hate Duke because he always says this, and this. And that's where the majority of the energy is going to come from. You already don't like
And we weren't tearing him down on anything
at all.
We were just talking about how on this particular thing, we disagreed with him.
That's it.
And we tried to make a actual intelligent discourse with him about what it is that we disagreed with. This wasn't us being like, F Michael Eric Dyson, and he's he talked too much.
We actually gave him his props.
Yeah,
definitely
we gave him his props. But because there are people who do like Michael Eric Dyson.
I like Michael Eric Dyson.
I want to see Michael Eric Dyson live when he was at Butler.
Yeah,
Yes.
I did too. I was so.
He's a good dude.
So it's not like we were trying to tear him down. It's just like, hey, on this particular thing, we disagree, and here's why we disagree. Yeah. And a lot of people, they're not here for the nuance of conversation or to even get into the layers of conversation. They just a lot of people are just very surface. But once again, we're talking about the internet.
That's it.
People aren't here. People on the internet aren't. These aren't the people who are reading Michael Eric Dyson's books.
No. I always make this same point that the internet gave people a voice who really wasn't back in the day.
Who really ain't now, back in the day.
But now I kind of put it to back when we were in school. So it makes people that didn't have a say, didn't have a voice, didn't have anything until they got the internet.
I don't even
and
really.
Now people grow up with it, and it's now a crutch on life. Period. Now, so like you don't even have to have a personality outside of social media. You can be somebody totally different online than you are out in public. And I literally witness this stuff all the time. Like people our age, they have this online persona that they're this, that, and the other, and that ain't them though. But they can do that online because they're never going to meet these people. They don't care.
Jump.
So I can say whatever I want online and hide behind it and stand strong. But if you see me in person, I'm the lion with no courage from Wizard of Oz. You know what I'm saying?
What were you gonna say, Long?
Just that I think it's even. I don't disagree with that, but I think it's even more simple. I think the internet just gives a voice to people that are miserable. And
that too.
And a lot of the negative comments that like spark up on any given thing are just people when they're going through a miserable moment. And that's the easiest way to lash out. You know, it's the easiest way to, pay for therapy. To go on there and just trash somebody else and feel a little bit better about yourself.
It's coming from a safe space because you're not held accountable and you can just be nice and private. Nobody knows where you're coming from, where you live, and you can be as bold as possible.
Yeah. So I think that's what a lot of it is.
Well,
I'm not mad at that either, actually.
Well, I'll say this, and I think this is pretty accurate for the rest of us. Anything I've ever said about an artist on this show, I would say to their face.
Facts.
Whether it be good, whether it be bad, like I'm not doing any of this for clout because you know what, the clout doesn't pay anything. Right, I still got to get up and go to work 7 days a week.
Talk to them.
So I don't really care. You know, I'm not trying to get on here and hurt anybody's feelings or say anything about them that I don't actually feel about them artistically, because that's by and large what we do. We talk about people artistically, whether it be Eminem, whether it be 50 Cent, whether it be, even when, Nicki Minaj's fans went crazy.
Oh, they got real mad.
Specifically me. I'm not saying anything that I would not say to this artist's face. I'll probably never meet them. Because it's like, once again, we're not an industry podcast. We're not here to interview people and prop them up. We're just here to give honest criticism of what it is that you do. But at the same time, like, if I say something good about you, that's how I actually feel.
Yeah.
Because we're not trying to gain favor with anybody.
Not at all.
And so if we say, yo, that was whack, that was whack, I
don't think we really cut down people to the point where we couldn't tell them in person how we feel about certain things.
Yeah, the stuff I've said about Lil Wayne, that's what I'd say to his face. I'd say that one album, as the first time I listened to a Lil Wayne album, I think it was like Carter 5, where I felt I was bored by it. Might have been 4. I don't remember. It was a while ago. But I just remember listening to that whole album and I was like, I'm completely bored by this project. And I would say that to his face.
I actually invite somebody to turn up on me based on something I said on the show.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to just sue you. I mean, that's just what
that's literally it.
I'm just going to sue you.
Yeah. So like,
I actually do think that Currency is a better version of Lil B. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Currency a little. Damn.
Yeah,
that's messed
hold on.
up.
But he stood in the paint on it though. He stood in the paint on it.
I'm not saying that Currency is Lil B. I'm just saying he just sounds like a more polished version of it.
Lone did stand. He stood in the paint on it too.
Lil B just ain't got them beats, huh?
And he
little beat the based God.
A little over there. I'm just talking about like his
stylistically.
Yeah.
So
not 100%, obviously.
We know Currency a better rapper.
But this is a perfect example of like when this happened, and I said this, and it was one of our segments that went pretty kind of viral in a way that
people took that as
it was a good excuse for people to bring out their daily anger in a particular way, in a way that if they saw me in person, they'd be like, bro, what are you talking about? It would be like that. But on the internet, they can go on, they can call
tough
you.
Guy.
But yeah, it's just what it is.
What I said about Kid Rock, I would say to his
absolutely.
face.
100%.
I couldn't wait to say some stuff about him to his face, as a man in his face.
Yeah. So, but none of the stuff is like personal, except for the stuff that is obviously personal. Like Diddy's a horrible human being.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But like,
and that's not even personal. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
He knows it too.
That's why he got that weak ass apology.
But I think that's for the whole Charlamagne thing. I think I think he stated what he stated pretty elegantly.
Yeah.
It's a different type of space when you're doing a show like this, or and Charlamagne's way larger, a media person than we are, but like we understand what he's saying too.
It's on a smaller level, but the concept is still the same.
Yeah,
it's still the
like
same.
There's nothing. I'll let you guys know.
It's like blogging back in the day. People would send you music.
That part,
It's like,
that part.
Okay, we'll listen to it.
We love the
promises.
engagement in the comments, but I'm going to let you know, if you're looking to change your mind, you might as well just keep your words to yourself.
It's not gonna happen.
Nah, man.
On that note, let's can we shout out the good people, the partners?
Sure, Terry can.
Thanks to our partners. Dr. Coleman of Coleman Dental is our go-to dentist. He's a longtime Indianapolis arts and music supporter located right in Broad Ripple. Printfinity is a screen printing shop based in Indianapolis, owned and operated by our own DJ Jay Diff. Our good friends at Indie CD and Vinyl operate one of the best record stores in North America. Shop new and used in their site or visit them in person. And the best way to support the New Old Heads is to visit our Patreon and become a member for as little as $3 a month. All details on newoldheads.com.
Welcome back to the New Old Heads podcast, brought to you live every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
On twitch.tv/newoldheads. We are in the building talking about hip-hop music and the lifestyle of the rich and famous.
Mm-hmm. Of which we are not.
No, we're just commenting from the sideline.
Yeah.
All right. So Apple Music released their 100 best albums. Now, Terry's got a qualm. I got a couple. Let's go ahead. And this is their 100 best albums.
Okay.
Now, we do not have to go through the whole list. I'm not here for that. Terry's issue is, which is crazy, but his is with the number one album. Am I right?
Yes.
Go ahead, bro.
Well, I do not believe that the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is the best album ever made. I feel
as
like
it relates to Apple Music.
as it relates to period.
I don't care what it's related
Yeah,
to.
I don't care who decides. I don't care who decides.
You got to keep it in the confines
No,
of
I
them,
don't.
though.
Okay, it seems like they use the same people at Rolling Stone to make this list
Or Billboard.
or Billboard
I
because
see so
there's
many
no
problems here.
way that out of all the great music that we've heard and have experienced and digested over the years, that and you know what I'm saying, God bless Lauryn Hill. She's a great artist. She gave us one great album. And
It's a great album.
That one great album should not be the greatest album of all
She ain't
time. I
never
don't care what
showed up
nobody
at all
said. We've had discussions about who all were responsible for this album.
True.
Who all wrote for this album. And I don't think she warrants having the best album.
What if are you saying that just because of the fact that it's her only album? Or
No,
because
I don't think I like the album.
The album is amazing.
I like
to me.
the album, but I don't like it better
not
than
amazing, it's
any
good.
of the top 10 that were listed on this list. I don't like it better than any of those.
So the blatant disrespect as it relates to the top 10. First of all,
They have this better than Songs in the Key of Life.
Songs in the Key of Life being number
Come on,
6.
and that might be my favorite R&B album of all time.
Frank Ocean being before that with Blonde.
Get out.
Blonde is not even Frank Ocean's best album.
Purple Rain being 4, Abbey Road being 3, and Thriller being 2. Okay, these are
This is an
timeless
awful
records.
list.
Yeah, man.
But Songs in the Key of Life being number 6 and Good Kid, Mad City being number 7, all like the credibility is starting to be consistently stripped from this list because I just don't buy it, bro.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
just don't buy it.
That's why I kind of didn't even want to talk about the other stuff on the list because it pisses you off the deeper you go into it. But this has been happening for years that people have held Lauryn Hill's album at this super high pedestal.
That's a good album, man.
It's a really good
It's an
album.
amazing record, bro.
But
Is it better than Purple Rain?
it's not.
Okay.
Well, that's a different conversation.
Is it better than Songs in the Key of Life or Good Kid, Mad
Absolutely
City?
not.
It's not better than Songs in the Key of
No.
Life. No, it's
No.
not.
It's one of those albums.
It's better than
this,
Lemonade.
This is why Lizzo was popular because once listen, let me explain it.
Okay.
This is why she is popular because once a certain demographic starts to like this artist, the kind of hip white professional,
This is safe.
it's safe.
Safe. I like
They
safe.
hear it, oh, that sounds good. I really like that. So when Lauryn Hill dropped her album, it was one of those safe albums that people could get used to in this hip hop, and I really like it. And there's not any vulgarity on here, and I'm comfortable listening to it. It doesn't feel like a threat. And so did Target. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those albums.
Hold on, man. Quick question. There's safe that checks off all the boxes that you just talked about. Then there's safe that's actually dope ass music that's safe. That's all I'm saying.
That's what I feel
It's
about-
not like this album is just safe and it's
No,
like,
it's-
okay, it's
it's
just
good.
safe. This is really good
It's
material.
really good, but you
that
have
falls
to,
under your
you
criteria.
have to add that in too. So it's the really good album that the white professional like too.
Okay.
And you know what? And people are going to be mad, and I don't care.
Here you go.
The Carnival is better than the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
No, I ain't going with that.
Yeah, I'm going with that.
Cap.
What is the Carnival?
The White Cliffs
album.
Oh,
I enjoy the Carnival more.
They're gonna be on your head in the comments for that.
Don't care.
That's Cap, J Moore. Come on now.
No, it's
That's
not.
Cap. That's
Go back
Cap.
and listen to the albums.
That's Cap.
Because honestly, listen,
That's Cap.
even the people, the white folks that were engaged in hip hop culture, they don't christen that Lauryn Hill album great like that.
Well,
They might have liked it, but they ain't never been like, that's my favorite album. Lon, what's your favorite album?
My favorite album? I don't know.
It's a Common album, right? One of them.
Like Water for Chocolate.
So you like Water for Chocolate more than you like the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, right?
Yeah.
And,
I was with him
and
when
that
he bought
kind of
it.
has something to do with you being cultured and having a certain taste that you acquire for hip hop music.
For sure.
That is not necessarily a safe.
Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. I feel like because this list per se isn't necessarily just about hip hop music or black music in general, it's like a general list that covers all pop genres and stuff. I think that's where I could push back against what you're saying, because
it's based off. It's grounded in their platform.
it's
For what they've, I don't know if they do specific type of data or whatever, but it's theirs.
like with what I just said. I think Like Water for Chocolate is a better album, but would I put Like Water for Chocolate over the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill on this list? I don't know. I don't know if I would, because I feel like the Miseducation
Like
of
Water for
Lauryn Hill
Chocolate's probably not even in
has
the top 100.
No, but
No, it's not.
But
Probably
I
not.
feel like it has a grander appeal, to your point. But I think for a list like this, that it actually is probably necessary to some
Make
degree.
it number one.
Maybe not number one, but at least to be mentioned in the top 20 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you think about Thriller,
Because it won all those Grammys.
But think about Thriller is arguably not even Michael Jackson's best album.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not. But this is the thing, though.
Thorough is his magnum opus. It's his Terminator 2 to what might have been Off the Wall being Terminator.
Exactly.
Good Kid, Mad City might not be Kendrick's best
A lot of
album.
people weren't even listening to Michael Jackson the same way when he dropped Off the Wall.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the Michael Jackson introduction to Quincy Jones production that probably majorly appealed to an urban audience,
Right.
Because we were used to Michael Jackson.
And he had been Dolo since he did like the Ben album when he was a kid.
Yeah, like
if I'm not
people,
mistaken.
People don't like, Off the Wall is like his third or fourth
Yeah.
solo record.
Am I tripping? Like there was albums in between.
No, he did solo records on Motown.
Okay, I got you. All right.
I just feel like this list is very much, it's trying to appeal to the grand consensus as opposed to being like the best actual musical piece of work.
Those are two different conversations.
Yeah, and I think to Terry's point, this is not that. This is not the best musical piece of work. It's not. It's not. It's a great album, but it is safe. It's a safe pick, but I feel like that's what this list is when you look at it. I mean.
Yeah, because I'm looking just on this page at maybe 10 albums I like better, which I think are overall better albums. I'm thinking Pet Sounds.
They're all safe albums. Look at them.
Yeah, Pet Sounds is very safe.
Thriller
is
consider-
Abbey Road is very safe.
Lemonade.
Yeah, okay.
Lemonade should not be top 10.
It shouldn't be nowhere near the top 10.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
The Blueprint, if you're going to talk about it, that's a safe album for, because if you're talking about an album that's actually better, I think 444.
Bro, the album, the songs in the Key of Life.
Rumors.
I like In Rainbows more than OK Computer by Radiohead. And I like OK Computer a lot. So, In Rainbows is probably one of my top 5 albums ever. So
We start
Frank
talking.
Ocean, I
there's
was
a
like,
lot.
come on now.
The Frank Ocean.
This is them trying to be cute.
Yeah, Blind is not better than what's his first album?
Orange.
Orange.
Yeah, it's not.
And it's not
It's
even
not
in the
better
same
than that.
stratosphere as songs in the Key of Life. If we talking about it in real
I
life,
don't think we can compare
I
that
can't.
essentially because you're gonna have a variety of different sounds that make up the top 10 albums of all time. So when we're talking about Stevie Wonder, he's a genius musician at the end of the day. He knows how to play so many instruments, it's crazy, and he writes his own stuff and he plays all of his stuff. He's played all of his stuff on some of these albums. So I can't really judge artists based. It's an unfair comparison.
Well, I'm taking into consideration both. I'm taking into consideration everything that you said, which I think first of all I agree with, but that's a part of Stevie's story. But the product is just, the level of the product is just better in my opinion also. Like it's twofold. He did all of it and the music is doper to me. It's just better.
It's dope. Yeah.
It's just better. Like Purple Rain is amazing. Like, it's amazing.
I can go out on a limb because when the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill came out, it was at the height of the neo soul era. So that album kind of embodied the hip hop and neo soulism that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to choose a neo soul album, it probably would be Voodoo.
What about Mama's Gun?
I would choose Mama's Gun.
Yeah, you're right.
Mama's Gun is really good, man.
Right. Voodoo followed close up.
I know why it's not on here, but I would put Mama's Gun ahead of the Miseducation.
See, now you're starting to show out, man.
I would too.
Telling the truth.
I would too.
I feel like six, maybe 7 of these in the first top 10. You'd
be okay with?
I think they could fluctuate around. And I think
Abbey Road is not a top 10 album. I think it's a top 20.
That's 150 comments right there.
It's a top 20.
It's arguable. Yeah. It's arguable.
You talking to a person?
Blind definitely in the top 10.
Yeah, I get that out of here.
You talking to a person that thinks and openly says and will argue till the cows come home that the Temptations are better than the Beatles. So you know how to sell it on.
First of all, I would put Pet Sounds ahead of anything that the Beatles have done.
You said that about the Beach Boys. You definitely
I'm pro Temps on that. They're better than the Beatles.
But we're talking about albums.
Yeah, I got you.
What are the Temptations? This is when everything was very single based.
Yeah.
The Temptations, when they was putting out albums, that wasn't really their golden era.
I'm gonna go find an album. We're gonna talk about this next week.
So would I be considered
what else is on
a hater for saying this about Lauryn Hill's album?
The way you broke it down, no. That doesn't come from a place of hate.
Maybe a little.
I mean, if you're a Lauryn Hill fan and you're listening, yes, you're hating, and so am I. Because I've said some things.
You definitely have.
Maybe a little.
I ain't gonna put you in the hater category.
Lauryn Hill, after this, she ain't never showing up on time.
That's why she ain't giving y'all no more music. Is because y'all sit around and christen this album as the greatest thing that was ever written. And she's like, well, I ain't got to give y'all nothing else.
You sounding real Nate Jeezy-ish right now, bro. That's what you sounding like. Because he agrees with you 100%.
Man, it's wild, man. Because I mean, and honestly, the score. I think the score set her up perfectly because the Fugees' score was a really good album.
She shined,
and that was a Target album too.
True.
So these are safe albums.
This is that one. If you went through somebody who didn't have any other rap albums in their big folder,
yes,
they always had the score.
Yes, exactly.
I had the score.
So it's tape. Like you were introduced because you did not have the Fugees when their logo was a 2-3-headed baby being held up. Mm-hmm. And they had what was the song they had? Saturday, Nappy Heads. You weren't,
and that was the remix, the one everybody because the rest of that album is terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
The score is crazy.
They regrouped. they regrouped and dropped some dope stuff.
The remix has saved what we blunted on reality.
And to his point. Lauryn shined on the score.
Yeah, she shined on the score.
All the way through it.
And this is back when videos were very important. So you see this lovely looking dark skinned chocolate woman with these other Rastafarian type dudes
in the movie theater looking good.
That was later on.
Yeah, that was later. I'm talking about.
I'm talking about when he was talking about 1, 2, 3.
I got you.
But it's messed up. Kind of your first impression. I remember the first time I saw the Fugees, I was like, oh, this is a dark skinned, less talented version of Diggable Planets.
Damn.
Oh wow, that's crazy, bro.
I mean, just like the first time I saw TLC, I was like, oh, that's cute. It's a girl, Belle Biv DeVoe.
Oh. Damn. I like TLC from the beginning. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I liked them, but I just remember I was like, oh, that's what they're doing.
But Lauryn Hill was that appeal though. She was the appeal for the group.
Yeah.
She was the face of the group, essentially. And once she went solo and dropped a really great album, because honestly, the lead single to that album wasn't all that great to me.
What?
Everything is Everything was the first single.
No. That was the first. They put out Lost Ones.
Was Lost Ones
that
the
was
first
the
one?
joint? Everything is Everything came later.
Man, the one where the video is the record
is the spinning. That was later.
I could have swore that was the first one.
And then it was Lost Ones was first. They didn't shoot a video for that, but I remember that was the first one they serviced the radio, and that was hitting on a little underground because it was.
They didn't really play Lost Ones on the radio.
Yeah, because that was the one they kind of like, okay, we're setting this up, and then it was. Doo-wop, that thing.
Doo-wop.
That was the one.
Yeah.
That was the one where they had the video and they really made it happen.
Mm-hmm. That had the budget behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the formula behind that album was great, and I'm not taking anything away from the album. It was structured very well.
Nothing even
Every
matters,
song was
man.
good. but it's just not the greatest album of all time.
I'll say that there's nothing on that album that I don't like.
I will say that too.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
But yeah, I say the same thing about Any Heartbreak, and I guarantee you that's not on this top 100.
It'll never be. Yeah,
you know better than that.
Yeah.
So
I can say that about a Californication. It's one of my favorite Red Hot Chili Peppers albums. I don't think it cracked.
Go ahead
on
Lon.
here.
What would you guys? Is there a consensus for the best album of all time?
I would say Songs in the Key of Life.
I would put Songs in the Key of Life there.
That's my personal favorite.
If you put that at number 1, I'd be like, I get it. Yeah. I can see that.
Whenever people ask,
what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on is very good.
That's number 17 on the list.
But as it relates to Songs in the Key of Life, every once in a while I will see as you scroll through topics about which 5 albums do you need here, or if you're going to be on an island or any of that. And whenever I answer it, that's the one album. There's 2. There's that, and there's Kinda Blue by Miles Davis. Those are the 2 that I always keep. Now the rest of the other 3 might fluctuate, but Stevie and Miles are the 2 that I gotta have on the island.
Look,
I don't care what nobody says.
And once again, music is subjective. But for me, if I'd have seen Pet Sounds, Purple Rain, What's Going On, or Songs in the Key of Life at number 1, I wouldn't have been mad. But the rest of the stuff, I'd be like, well, I can make arguments against it.
I'm kind of more mad that Blonde is even in top 10.
Most people haven't even heard that record.
Yeah.
People don't want to say that out loud, but most people haven't even heard that record.
You know, I'm disappointed Beck's not in here because
Beck be cleaning up at the award shows. Hey, real talk.
Where's Beck at, man?
Where's Jamiroquai?
I don't know. That first one was cold.
Amy Winehouse's Back to Black is a very good nod.
I think it's a very good album, but I don't think it's top 20.
Timur, what about the Fooshnickens?
Now you just playing.
I'm not playing. I'm asking.
Well,
no.
On that note,
yeah,
I'm trying to think of another album that could have been in there though.
Hold on, let's go a page over. Can you go a page over?
It's just the end.
Okay, the very end. Okay,
and it's gonna be a rabbit hole, bro. Because you're gonna get mad when you see.
You know what? Because I wouldn't put it at number 1. Pearl Jam 10. I would put Pearl Jam 10 before Nevermind. That should Pearl Jam 10.
When y'all talk Pearl Jam, y'all start losing me.
No, that's when Pearl Jam.
That's not my area.
I feel like
before Nirvana.
I was outside. I feel like Pearl Jam 10 was better than Nevermind, and I know that is a controversial thing to say.
Nevermind is by Nirvana. Okay,
no, I don't think so. But I liked Pearl Jam back in the day too. But
Even Flow, Jeremy, Black.
Jeremy spoke.
But maybe, Black was one of those records where, like, when I was in my kind of emo high school phase trying to figure it out.
You used to have a bang swoop.
I didn't have all that. But,
You was wearing shells back then when you was listening to that.
No. I wasn't doing all that.
That Sublime album was hidden.
Sublime. Where is Smashing Pumpkins? 19. Yeah, okay. All right. Once again, I'm getting into my rock bag. It's a lot. So I should stop.
Which Smashing Pumpkins album?
Gosh.
It was their double album?
No. Maybe the one before that. I can't remember.
Where's Coltrane, Love Supreme?
Kinda Blue is 25.
Where's that? Okay, shout out to
Daft Punk. What did they put a Daft Punk in there?
Yeah, it's 23.
I'm surprised Train ain't on here nowhere.
Revolver.
Love Supreme.
I would put Revolver before Abbey Road.
No, Coltrane ain't giving Train no love.
Ain't no
David Bowie.
Anita Baker on there.
No, of course not.
You ain't gonna get Anita on there.
Come on,
that's
man.
too much like right. I'm surprised Train ain't on here. Biggie.
That I thought that was Cabin California.
No, come on.
Public Enemy.
Somebody got what is that? What Beyonce album was that?
Beyonce.
The one that's just called Beyonce.
36 Chambers. All right.
Illmatic.
Illmatic. Okay.
Aretha.
Equipment.
What number 41?
Oh, 40.
That Control album was crazy.
Yeah. Was that Intervisions? You gonna have Control before Intervisions? Calm the down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Hold on. Drake don't need to be nowhere near in the top 50.
Was that Beastie Boys?
Yeah.
Paul's Boutique goes before anything Drake has ever done.
Oh man, you gonna get some comments.
And I'm sorry, Appetite for Destruction.
That's a good album.
Yeah, that is a good album.
It needs to be a lot closer to that top 20.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the thing is, Guns N' Roses' entire legacy.
There's Train.
Guns N' Roses' entire legacy is based off that album.
Yeah, Love Supreme was crazy.
Rihanna, The Cure.
That anti-album. Voodoo at 57?
That might be a little low, but I fool with Voodoo.
Okay, Sade, Love Deluxe. All Eyes on Me.
Tupac.
Baduizm.
Because they don't have the.
Was that 3 Feet High Rising?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have the confidence to put.
NWA's push to the
put
back.
Me Against the World.
Number 72.
SOS?
Interesting.
Calm down.
Man.
Must be some youngins in the
Downward
world.
Spiral was a really good album by 9 Inch Nails, by the way.
Okay.
Super.
Was that Uzi Vert? Hold on, man.
Bad Bunny?
Hold on. Go to the heart with the legs.
Go to the heart with the legs.
That's
That's Bad Bunny. I don't, I
I've
don't
never
know.
heard that
I don't know
album.
his records.
I got like 7 copies of this on vinyl. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is a really good album.
Bad Bunny is popular though. Was that the Eminem?
Yeah. Snoop
Doggy Style is 85.
Massive,
Mary J.
Massive Attack, Nina Simone. Stuff.
They ain't had a wall on there?
I think that was earlier. I saw that.
Okay.
Come on, Pink Floyd?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, is that Flower
Solange.
Boy? Flower Boy?
Fireboy
That was a
on
good. Solange's album was good.
It was
Not
good.
better than Confessions?
You got
Confessions is that far back? Wow.
Astro World.
That's so real.
because if this is an Apple list, then Confessions should be a lot higher.
Why is Astro World close to Confession? See, I got issues, man.
Yeah.
I got issues.
That, yeah.
Well, who are these
This is
people?
crazy.
Y'all interns got to get y'all life together, man. Because come on, man. I think we need to get out of here on that.
Man,
That's fine.
interns
You know I got
need to
language
intern for
Oh,
You know I got
for
language
somebody else.
and I
man.
saw Low End Theory, but I did not see Midnight Marauders.
Because that wasn't an album that the masses are going to gravitate to.
And it's probably my
These are
favorite
all
one.
safe albums, if you noticed. Well, I wouldn't say all of them are safe albums, but majority of the ones on
And are
that
they only
list-
doing one album per artist? It looks like that's what they were doing.
Yeah, yeah.
No. Radiohead had 2.
I think
Oh.
yeah.
Prince had 2.
No, he did. He had Sign of the Times
Beatles had a
and
couple.
Purple Rain.
Either you made it or you didn't. Well,
Oh,
look,
well.
we can stop it here. NewOldHeads.com for all
Did
the
Mike only
education.
had one on there? He only had Thriller?
I think so.
Damn.
Yeah. That a couple.
Cold World.
All right, y'all.
Hey,
New
Bad was actually a good album.
Bad was
Dangerous was a
fantastic.
good album, too.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerous was definitely cold. All right. We done?
Yeah, I
Should we
guess.
finish or we done?
As we finish or we done? NewOldHeads.com for all the education you need this year. Make sure you like it, subscribe, and also leave us a review in any situation because we need 5 stars and comments. And also don't forget our Patreon. We appreciate the support as always. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
We are not your friends.